Allow me, if you will, to paint you a picture. You're a kid in the mid-1990s whose favourite cartoon based on his favourite films has been on and off the air since the show was cancelled and hasn't had any new content since that axe. And then one day you see a commercial on TV for a new cartoon, a continuation of the show you love, more content in the franchise you adore. The day finally comes, you rush home from school, you make yourself comfortable for what is sure to be the start of a huge part in the future of that franchise that you love. However, after only one season, despite how much you loved it, it is gone and cancelled. But fortunately, 25 years later, you are still a massive geek who still loves that franchise and you live off nostalgia, and you now make videos sharing that nostalgia on YouTube. So, hello to everyone, I'm Matt from Geekstalgia. Thank you for joining me as we take another trip down memory lane, this time for a nostalgic look back at Extreme Ghostbusters. Originally airing in September of 1997, Extreme Ghostbusters was created as a sequel series to the fantastic The Real Ghostbusters, the cartoon that kick-started my eternal love and devotion to the Ghostbusters franchise. It was developed for television by Jeff Klein and Richard Reynes under Adelaide Productions, a company that also produced cartoons in the 90s based on many other films like Men in Black and the Godzilla movie. The show was set some years after the end of the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. Hauntings and supernatural activity has all but disappeared because the Ghostbusters did their job too well, leading to Ghostbusters once again going out of business. Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz and Winston Zeddemore have all gone their separate ways, leaving Egon Spengler behind alone to take care of the containment unit. Egon now also works at a local college teaching a class on paranormal studies when once again supernatural activities begin to rise up. Egon takes his 4 lone students in his class under his wing to become the new team of Ghostbusters to repel the ghostly threats. Throughout the years since Ghostbusters 2 was released in cinemas in 1989, talk of a third movie in the franchise has continuously come up, gone away, come up and gone away again. One of the many recurring ideas for that third movie was a new generation of Ghostbusters, a passing of the torch movie. The original Ghostbusters would train a team of new Ghostbusters to continue their legacy. Extreme Ghostbusters was the first to put that idea into action. The new team consisted of 4 young college students. Kylie Griffin, voiced by Tara Strong, was the believer, a goth genius who attends Egon's class because of her belief in the supernatural, especially after the death of her grandmother. Eduardo Rivera, voiced by Reno Romano, was a slacker with a cynical side, only taking Egon's class for the extra credit. He filled out the mouthpiece of the group. Then there was Ronan Jackson, voiced by Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star Carlton Banks himself, Alfonso Ribeiro. He was the machine head, the admirer of the equipment that Ghostbusters used, especially the Ecto-1 car. And the final new member of the Ghostbusters was Garrett Miller, a paraplegic athlete voiced by Jason Marsden, the adrenaline junkie taking Egon's class for the Easy A. He happily joins up the Ghostbusters for that adrenaline highs and the assured fame. Maurice LaMarche reprised his role from the original cartoon as Egon Spengler, now sporting a really cool ponytail and acting as the group's mentor. Voice acting legend Frank Welker did not return to provide vocals for Slimer, so that job was taken up by Futurama star Billy West. Janine Melnitz was the only other original Ghostbusters cartoon character to return, however this time she was voiced by Pat Music. The series was designed to provide longtime Ghostbusters fans new content in the franchise they had sorely missed since the films were out and the end of the cartoon, while also attracting a new audience to the franchise. The tone was darker and edgier. It knew that most fans were much older now and mostly in adolescence and wanted something that suited their changing tastes. The theme song had an update with a more rock-like sound, with the vocals being sung by Winnie the Pooh, Jim Cummings. The themes and imagery and the tone of the show were pretty much, dare I say it, scary, especially for 10-year-old me. Even in my 30s now, they're still pretty spooky. If you don't believe me, then go and watch the 5th episode of the show Deadliners, which is basically the Ghostbusters versus the Cenobites from Hellraiser.
Bid your humanity farewell.
Embrace us. Embrace the Vathic.
Go on, take me. When my friends find you, they'll make you pay.
They cannot destroy us.
If it is not written,
it cannot be done.
Extreme Ghostbusters aired on the BKM block of syndication in the US and on CITV here in the UK and various countries around the world. Now, I would love to sit here and tell you that Extreme Ghostbusters was a massive success and kickstarted a new wave of fandom for the Ghostbusters franchise. However, due to constantly changing scheduling, marketing that showed a different tone to what the show was, and episodes being shown out of sequence, Extreme Ghostbusters lasted only one season of 40 episodes. It aired from September to December of 1997 before falling victim to the dreaded axe of cancellation. Now, being a relatively big franchise, you'd expect Extreme Ghostbusters to be more popular than it actually is, and there are some theories as to why the show was cancelled. Some believe the tone was too dark. Yes, it is a show about the supernatural, but did it go too far? Some think it was because it just wasn't the Ghostbusters they wanted, because, you know, fanboys are gonna fanboy. But most think it was the aforementioned changing scheduling and marketing. The series concluded what many fans consider to be the best episodes, a two-parter Back in the Saddle, which saw the new Extreme Ghostbusters team up with Egon and the returning original Ghostbusters, Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz and Winston Zeddemore, all voiced by their original voice actors from the real Ghostbusters cartoon, Dave Coulier, Frank Welker and Buster Jones, to save New York and the world once more. Despite its limited runtime, it still saw a wave of merchandise created and released. Trendmasters released a range of toys in 1997 consisting of action figures and the Ecto-1 playset.
Extreme Ghostbusters! Armed with the ultimate ghost-busting gear! Extreme Kylie, Eduardo, and Roland face Extreme Ghosts with awesome attack power! You power up light and sound to bring him down! Ecto-1 screams on scene with blazing lights and missile fire. And when Egon sets the trap, you send him back. Extreme Ghostbusters vehicles and figures, each sold separately, batteries not included.
Each of the main characters saw a basic and variant release, all except Garrett, who is still, to this day, 25 years later, not had an official figure made of him. Now, because we didn't have email or Twitter to complain on back then, 10-year-old Matt hand wrote a letter to Trendmasters asking, hey, why no Garrett? 10-year-old Matt did get a letter back from Trendmasters saying they didn't have the rights to that character. 10-year-old Matt read that and still thought, really though? Really? Is that what it is?
I don't believe you.
Now, Garrett's absence is most likely due to Trendmasters thinking it would be too expensive to have Garrett's wheelchair made. If a second line had been produced, then who knows what would have happened. A prototype of Garrett with a very toyetic look was in the works. Pictures can be found online, but never saw the light of day on a toy shelf. Now, if Hasbro want to make a Garrett figure, because they have the Master Toy license currently, I will happily buy it. Just saying, if you're watching Hasbro, you got my money. You've had enough of it already. What's more, Trendmasters also released the Proton Pack, Neutrona Gun and Trap role-play toys, which sadly I never owned, but a guy can dream.
Arm yourself with the ultimate ghost-busting gear. You power up the Proton Pack for ectoplasmic lights and sound. Get extreme with your own plasma power beam. And fry that ghost into ecto-toast. Now you set the trap, and in a snap, blast them back. Extreme Ghostbusters, Proton Power Pack, and Ghost Trap each sold separately. Batteries not included from Trendmasters. Figures and toys can still be found on eBay and second-hand collectors markets, and is one of my regular eBay searches. 3 video games were released: Extreme Ghostbusters Game Boy Color, Extreme Ghostbusters Code Ecto-1 for Game Boy Advance, and Extreme Ghostbusters The Ultimate Invasion for PlayStation 1. A handful of episodes were released on VHS, and the first 13 episodes, bizarrely billed as the complete first season, was released here in the UK on DVD, and as Volume 1 in Australia. As far as I could find, there have been no releases in America. However, all the episodes can be found online on Hulu and on the official Ghostbusters YouTube channel, right here, you might be surprised to see, on YouTube. Extreme Ghostbusters was made as an attempt to revive a much-loved franchise and kickstart that fandom all over again. However, despite holding a very cherished place in my heart and many hearts of Ghostbusters fans around the world, it did not find the success expected of it, especially compared to the success of the previous cartoon. It wouldn't be until 2009 that Ghostbusters fans were rewarded for their patience with the release of the Ghostbusters the video game, and in 2016 for Ghostbusters Answer the Call, and in 2021 for the truly fantastic Ghostbusters Afterlife. And that, guys, was a very brief look back at Extreme Ghostbusters. If you were a fan, then let's reminisce about it in the comments below. While you're there, if you want to do all those wonderful YouTube things like sharing and subscribing, as always, it's massively appreciated when you do, but I'm not going to hate you if you don't. You do you, I'm not your dad. But until the next one, until the next nostalgic look back at something from days gone by, thanks as always for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of your fellow humans, and I hope to see you all again soon.